Jake Force, welcome to the podcast, man.
Thanks, man.
Welcome to the Tiger Den.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
Yeah. So we were just talking off camera about some stuff.
Yeah.
And,
Oops.
yeah, it's been, man. So how I saw you is I saw your Facebook video about something you were talking about with your family and your dad. And I was just like, I knew you, we had chatted before, so I knew you existed.
Right.
But I'm always thankful to find other creators in the contracting space because there's not a lot of us.
Agreed.
You're local. So I'm like, dude, I got to have this guy on.
Totally different. Yeah. It's totally different to see that local, isn't it?
It is, dude.
Yeah.
And we need it. The central Illinois area needs it. So we're here. So welcome, man.
Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah. So let's dive into, I know we're talking off camera, 2017 is when you started Force. It's the Force Masonry and Construction.
Force Masonry Construction, yeah.
Force Masonry Construction.
Inc.
For the people out there that don't know these terms, don't know these words, are not privy to construction, give them like the very blanket statement basics you do.
So we do masonry, bricklaying, right? Bricklaying, block, stone, anything wrong with masonry, whether it's a commercial building or home, basement, whatever, we're going to fix it. So we do masonry revitalization. We don't do a whole lot of new construction anymore.
Does that include like driveways and backyard patios?
I was just getting ready to get to that. Yeah, if you want to pave a driveway or patio, we can do it. If you want a concrete, if your driveway needs tore out and replaced, we'll replace it.
Yep.
If you want decorative concrete, stamped, stained, whatever, we got you. Pool deck, we got you. Stairs, we got you. Concrete leveling, I got a polyurethane foam machine so we can raise the concrete if there's any trip hazards or anything. And then I also got my basement waterproofing foundation repair company.
This is one of the things that people, I think, misunderstand about business in general is the level of investment it takes to be good in construction. The equipment you were just talking about costs tens of thousands of dollars, I assume.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The pneumatic and the
polyurethane foam machine. I mean, that was $80,000.
$80,000.
Yeah.
So you got to invest $80,000 to even make $1 back from that. So it's massive investment up front in order to make it back, hopefully through marketing, through sales, through actually doing jobs.
Yeah.
It's a big risk.
Everything's an investment in construction. I mean, every business is an investment, right? But when you look at how much money it costs just to send one of our estimators to meet with a homeowner, by the time they click on our Google ad or come through our funnel in whatever way, we got $600 in that appointment.
It's not cheap.
No, and that doesn't mean we're going to make any money from that potential customer because they got to sign and we got to do the job, right?
Yeah. Oftentimes you'll spend money and help people. And by the way, we are all about that, helping the community. But I think people underestimate the level of money it takes to be successful because it's a lot of spend in order to even get just one swing at a potential chance to serve somebody.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about not even the money aspect of it, but the wear and tear on you as an individual and your mentality and your body and just I mean, I can't tell you how many 90-hour weeks I worked.
Wow.
Back in 2017 to 19.
Yeah, just getting started.
Yeah.
Just trying to keep as much cash in the business as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It became an addiction, really.
Yeah. Paying yourself not a lot of money, just trying to figure it out.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what it takes, man. It's self-sacrifice and a decade worth of vision, if not more. You're saying, I'm sacrificing now for the first few years for a hope that I'm going to make money here in the next 5-7 years.
Yeah, for a hope, right? Yeah. And I'm lucky because when I started, I had no guidance, no clue about running a business. I didn't know what cash flow was. I didn't know the difference between accrual and cash when it comes to bookkeeping. I didn't know none of that.
Yeah. What write-offs are actual write-offs and what write-offs are not actual?
I didn't know that either. I remember getting into it with my dad after I started understanding like what the difference between bad write-offs and good write-offs were. To me, a bad write-off is a tool that you don't need.
Exactly.
My dad had an addiction with Menards. Yeah, really. He did, bro. He was addicted to going to Menards, and he'd tell you that. And if my grandpa was with us right now, he'd go on a tangent. But
that's funny.
So I told my dad, I said, Dad, you can't keep buying all these tools that we're not really going to use just to write them off because we'll show that we didn't make any money. He says, right. That's great. We're not going to have to pay taxes.
But then you actually have no money.
Then you have no money. Right. That's what I said. And it took me probably like a whole year to convince him and like show him like why that's not a thing. Like you can't do that. Right. And finally he eventually ended up getting, understanding it. And he's like, holy shit, What have I been doing the last 20 years?
The term write-off is a little bit, it's like fake. Because like people think write it off. It just means that the thing costs no money.
Mm-hmm.
No, what you're saving is the tax rate you're taxed upon.
Yeah.
So it might be 20, 25, 15%, whatever your tax rate is.
Yeah.
So you're buying something for $100. You get 20 of it back in taxes. You still spent $80.
Yep.
So if that thing's not a great asset, you're wasting money.
Right.
Yeah.
Or something or an asset that is, or whatever, that can be added back into your income when it comes to borrowing at the bank. I don't know exactly all the terminology used there, but I know like if if I go out and I buy a machine that's going to get depreciated, that depreciation is getting added back into the value.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was an interesting ride I had with my dad through those years, and I started figuring that out. I'm like, shit. Yeah.
Now, you told me off camera that your father had passed away in 2022.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
First of all, what's that experience like, Jake?
Well, I mean, it I don't know how to describe it. It's a tough experience. It's something like I don't know how to describe it, Ben. I can just tell you that my dad was holding my son at 8:00 at night, the night before, and he was dead before 4:00 the next morning. And my dad was a smaller guy, worked really hard. I knew he was unhealthy. I knew he was going to probably pass away before he was 60 just because of his lifestyle. He just smoked a lot of cigarettes. He smoked 4 packs of Reds a day. Wow. And he drank like 3 pots of coffee with a shit ton of sugar in it. And he didn't drink, right? He didn't do like drugs or anything, but he just smoked a lot. He drank a lot of coffee, Pepsi. The last 2 years of his life, he actually drank water throughout the day. But for dinner, he'd have like 1 large meal a day. And I remember I was like 16 and 17 years old. He had just got divorced. His wife was cooking for him all the time,
This is not your mother.
No, that's it was my stepmom, yeah. And I would go over to my dad's house because I lived with my grandparents, and I go over to my dad's house, and he'd eat a cake. He'd have cake, 3 cakes in his refrigerator, bought from Menards or from Walmart.
It'd be more ironic if he bought them from Menards.
It would be, yeah, yeah. But no, he would eat cake for dinner, like a healthy dinner for him in 2016, 2015, 2017 was a quarter pounder. That was a healthy dinner or a frozen pizza, And then he eventually came around and started eating healthier foods, but he would eat one large meal a day, and he's had a massive heart attack in his sleep. Ugh. Yep. So I knew my dad wouldn't want it any other way but me to just continue carrying on his name. And at that point, so in 2017, we were really struggling. I mean, we only did $500,000 that year as a company, and we had 3 employees, and we had to buy material and fuel. So, I mean, we had no money. And by the year 2021, we did 1.8. So we started doing good, and my dad finally started getting to enjoy himself, feeling comfortable financially. Finally, he had just bought a house up on Highview Road.
That's where I'm from.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He lived across from the Uftdrinks is where right there by Castle. But he loved the house. He bought it in September of 21, and he was gone April of 22. But when the day my dad died, I remember looking at him, and I said my goodbyes and everything, and I told him, I said, "Well, Dad," I said, "I'm gonna have to go down to the shop and tell everybody what happened." And so that's what I did. I went in, I told everybody what was going on. I continued to answer my phone throughout that day, and I continued working. I worked the day that my dad died. I worked the next day. I worked the day after that. The day after that, I worked. I didn't stop because my dad passed away. I just handled business because that's what my dad would have wanted me to do. Sure. He wouldn't have wanted me to sit around and do nothing. And believe me, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to just sit there it was so weird. So you asked me what the experience was like. This is how I can describe it. I talked to my dad so much. He was my best friend. I talked to him so much, Ben, that I was looking at him in his bed, laying there dead. And 3 times I went to call him to tell him that he was dead. Like I would grab my phone. I would go to grab my phone because it was a habit. Like if something's going on, to call my dad. So I'm like going back and forth. Like I can't call him, you know. And fast forward about 16 months later, my grandmother got pancreatic cancer, and I don't know my mom really. My mom left my life at 6 months old, and I don't really know her. So and I don't really know any of her family other than her uncle, and we we talk to each other once in a while. So I don't really have anybody but my dad and my grandparents and then my son now, you know. But so my grandma, 16 months later, I'm still trying to call my dad, telling him that she's got cancer. Mm-hmm. So it's to me, it's like it's just like he's right here, he's sitting right there, you know. So I feel my dad's here with me all the time, but it's just a weird feeling, man. Yeah, it's weird.
I can't speak for him, but I'm certain he's proud of you for what you've accomplished over the past 8 years.
I hope so. I hope so. I appreciate it. I was proud of him. I know that.
There's a handful of people that I know personally that have $5 million plus companies. A handful.
Okay.
It's very rare to have somebody successful in the trades because it's so competitive. It's difficult to do cash flow. Yeah. In the wintertime, oftentimes with us, we almost shut down operations completely. Yeah. Because maybe it's the same because you guys can't dig underground as much. Maybe you can.
So masonry, it's hard to keep going in the wintertime, but we typically I start trying to push for inside jobs around this time of year. Actually, you'll probably start seeing some of our marketing and our ads saying, get on our 2025 to 26 winter list for indoor floor or masonry work or whatever, and save however many thousands of dollars. So we try to keep them busy. There was a few guys I had that was laid off this winter. Mm-hmm. But typically, most of my guys stay working, but it is a struggle. But the nice thing about the basement industry is it's go, go, go. It doesn't matter what time of year it is because we're inside.
Inside.
Yep. And then I picked up snow removal too, so that's a nice little plus on the side.
Sure. That's a touching story because I still have my dad. He's very healthy at 66 years old now, and we still work in the business together. He's my co-founder.
Awesome.
It's cool, man. It's challenging to work with family at times because you know them so well, and that can be a detriment or a positive. But it's certainly something that's brought my dad and I closer together. Yeah, because we talk about this thing at family parties and stuff about what we're doing and what we're looking forward to, what we're changing. You know, it's beautiful. In the first 6 to 8 months to a year, it was a struggle because it's just like getting our feet off the ground. Keep in mind, Jake, I had experience in the trades for the bathroom industry, remodel. That's where I came from. But then I moved into roofing, which I knew not much about. But given the nature of the industry itself, most of the holes in the roofing industry are on the communication, sales, marketing, and job management side. It's more so those things that falter versus the actual roofing. So that's the challenge. And so we were solving a different problem. The roofing industry presents a lot of problems, but the main one being that roofers really don't take care of their customers in a large degree. Yeah. Like 80% of contractors in the United States are not trusted by people.
I know it.
Yeah. But you understand why, because you're in it. Mm-hmm. But you're trying to find and solve problems that most people in the country have not solved yet. So it's like you're trying to do it by yourself. It feels like you're alone a lot of the time.
Well, I mean, business ownership in general, it feels like you're alone.
It does.
Yeah. So you're really lucky to still have your dad. When my dad was here, I didn't feel alone. Mm. When I lost my dad, I'm still surrounded by many great people. I have a team of 35 wonderful individuals that are aligned with our company's core values, and they take pride in what they do. I can honestly say every person that works for me takes pride in what they do. Yeah. For my company. They want the customer to be happy with them. But even though I got all those people around me, right? And I got my son and my grandpa and
how old's
my
your
son's
son?
Mom. He's 6.
6.
Yeah, but I still feel alone because I feel like as business owners, Ben, sometimes we're trying to communicate something to our staff or maybe even our significant other, and we're trying to give them a vision, and we're not communicating it well enough, and we feel like they just don't understand.
It's hard to articulate.
Yeah.
The pressure of running a business is it's kind of like all encompassing, because once you uncover one problem, you might uncover 3 more.
Oh yeah.
You've been there.
Oh yeah.
So it's like you might have a cash flow problem, but you also have a marketing problem, a sales problem, these problems. And so it's like it's layers upon layers. And then guess what? There's no HR department looking out for you.
No.
You are HR.
Oh yeah.
So it's like I just got to make changes and make solutions and talk to my guys and see what they come up with. It can be daunting.
Yeah, I'm very open book with my guy. I talk to my guys about a lot of things. I'll never not listen to somebody. I feel a lot of contractors mess up when they don't take feedback from their employees.
Totally.
I don't care if it's the newest guy, one of the guys that lived in the tent city behind where my shop is over in Pekin on the other side of the tracks. If they came up to me and said, "Hey, Jacob, I see what you're doing. Can I offer you some tips?" I'd say, "Yeah, let's hear them." Right. And I'm not going to look down on that person for trying to give me their opinion on something, because that shows that it's one of two things. Either they care about you or they're just trying to make themselves feel important. But either way, maybe even with them trying to make themselves feel more important, maybe I'm going to get something from it.
Did that actually happen?
I don't think so. It's just a rule that I abide by.
I totally understand. I didn't know if that actually.
I don't think
wouldn't
so.
surprise me. There's just people that'll talk to you all the time. I have people talk to me about social media all the time. Hey, you should do this video. Hey, you should do this video. I'm like, yeah, thanks for that. I'll do it.
What do you think about all the social media marketing agencies you getting a hold of you all the time, telling you that they're going to give you this many leads and that?
Yeah, that happens often. Yeah. For people that are listening, it's people will contact me. I mean, 3-4 times a week sometimes. Hey, I can get you 100 leads for this much money.
Yeah.
Pay me and I'll get you this many customers. The reality is, Jake, is anytime you outsource something to someone else, you give them power.
Yep.
So you want to outsource as little as possible because you're giving power to people that don't have your best interest at heart. They have their interest at heart. So marketing to me is such a personal thing that I take on all the marketing efforts, most all of them, 95% of them. And it's something that I've taken great pride in and I feel like I'm good at. So like, I'm not going to outsource that just as anybody. So when somebody contacts me and says that, I think to myself, this might sound prideful, but I could just do this better than you. And I can't do it better for a company in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. But here locally, I know the people.
Yeah.
I know what they feel. I know because I am one.
Yep.
So if they're feeling this way, I know how to communicate to them.
Yeah.
And that person from San Francisco doesn't know Peoria.
Right, exactly. And they don't know you.
That's right.
And what your characteristic is and what you want to present your company like, right?
Exactly.
And so a little bit ago when we were talking about the not, feeling alone and not being able to get your vision across, that's what I came across. That was the issue I had with my marketing agencies that I was using, is I couldn't get the point across that I was trying to get across to them. And I would see like pictures get posted on my Facebook that wasn't up to par, or it was not the right picture. And even if it was a stock photo, it was messed up. Like, get this off of here, And so you're absolutely right. The more in-house you can do, the more control you can have over it, the better. Because an agency is going to have 400, 500 clients. Where are you at on their priority list?
Exactly. Not to mention, man, it's like, it takes time in order to put into marketing, right? Marketing is it's an everyday thing. It's not just like a once every 6 month thing. So when you're starting a business, you have to have people lined up to do jobs. And in the beginning of a business, you usually don't have a lot of cash.
Yep.
So you've got to be working in the business as well.
Yep.
So you're taking on a job, let's say it's sales, marketing, actual construction, whatever, and marketing. Yeah. So that's where the long days and long nights come in. When my first 2 years, bro, I was moving.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I was all over the place because I had to be.
Yeah.
I had to be.
How many miles did you put on your vehicle
I put
on average a day?
About 50,000 a year is what I go through.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about yourself?
I don't remember what it broke down to, but it was 150 miles a day, averaged out 7 days a week for a while. But I was running.
It's 1,000 miles a week.
Yeah.
Right? 150 a day.
Yeah. Yep. So I mean, I was cooking.
Yeah.
I was looking at 5 or 6 jobs a day, and then plus I was doing at the time like the payroll, answering the phone, and dealing with the insurance guy, marketing. I just started dabbling in that, and so yeah.
It's a difficult thing. When people say they're starting their own business, I cheer them along. I want to see people succeed. At the same time, I know what it takes, and you have to have a mindset that's locked in. It's not necessarily what you can do or what you can prove out in your work. It's, can you take the pain?
Yeah.
Can you painfully walk through this and be able to take the long weeks? A lot of people, I think a lot of men, Jake, can work long weeks. That's not the problem. It's the amount of work and the amount of discipline you have to have with different trades. It's finances, it's marketing, sales, it's lead funnels, it's you name it, you're in charge of it. So it's difficult because you have to have many different skill sets. And guess what? None of us are blessed with all those. So you have to learn constantly. I bet you're the same. I read you the same. It's just constant learning, man.
All the time.
YouTube videos, books, you name it, I'm into it.
Yeah, I think the one of the largest things you have to do in order to be a business owner, no matter how far you're going to take it, is you have to be a good leader. You can't be a leader of other people if you can't lead yourself, which is where the discipline comes in at.
Exactly.
You have to understand how to lead yourself. If you wake up with a hair in your ass or up your ass one day and be like, hey man, I want to be an entrepreneur today. It's like, really? Were you already an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
And you just didn't realize it? Or do you think you're going to mold yourself to becoming an entrepreneur? Because I don't know that happens. I think an entrepreneur is an entrepreneur.
Has just got it.
Yeah, they're just wired that way, and it's unfortunate because there's probably a lot of them out there that don't realize that that's what they are, and they got untapped potential. But then you might have somebody that's going to be a business owner and be self-employed, and that's what they want to do. That's great, but I wish that people really knew the difference between what a business owner is and an entrepreneur is, and someone that's self-employed.
Yeah,
so 100%. Disciplined and got to lead yourself.
Got to lead yourself.
Yep.
And be able to lead other people. They see you as a leader. They perceive you as somebody that's worth following.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I was telling you about off camera, that like how I wake up every morning and my process of getting ready and how I dress, how I appear to myself in the mirror is important to me. Because the people that are in this building and are outside of this building see me as a leader.
Yeah.
Therefore, I have to show up every day for myself in order to lead them well.
Yeah, exactly. And not one great leader that I know of didn't have a team of people under them, following them, helping them become that great leader.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, they're helping you, giving you advice.
Yeah.
You got to be humble enough to say, I can improve here.
Yep.
I can wake up earlier. I can show up more excited. I can be more communicative. I can be less angry.
Yep.
When things go wrong.
And open-minded, taking those ideas. Let's hear them. I said, Jacob, we got this problem. We don't like this. Why? Let me hear it. Tell me why you don't like it.
How do we fix it?
Yeah, exactly. I always use this analogy when employee A is mad at employee B, right? So-and-so's, they're screwing with this. They're making this process all messed up. They're not doing their job. They're lazy. It's like, hold on, stop. Okay, wait. Have you told the other employee this?
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, no, we haven't said it. Okay, well, what if that thing that you're complaining about, employee B has the same problem, right? Or it's affecting them in some other way. So you got say employee A is in the office and employee B is out in the field. Employee B is complaining about the office because of this problem. But employee A really has an issue with this process too. And neither one of them communicated on it, except employee A is just doing whatever it takes to get it done. And employee B is out spreading cancer, saying employee A is not doing their job.
Exactly.
Well, if employee A or if employee B would go to employee A and say, hey, I don't know if you are experiencing any type of issue with this problem, but this is causing us a problem in the field. Employee B may get the response from employee A as, yes, oh my gosh, I can't believe you said something about it because it's been a pain in my ass too. What can we do together to fix this? That's what teamwork is.
Put them in the same room.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
Talk.
Yeah. And then also too, I tell my people, Ben, like, not every problem is going to be able to be solved right now. Not everything that is causing us a little bit more work can be changed right now because of us being in that growth phase, right?
Right.
But as long as I think that you can lead your team to understanding that having an open mind about the other positions inside the company, and you lead them to understand that everybody has their own place and they all have to communicate together, that's going to get an entrepreneur, a business owner, a lot further than not communicating. I think communication and finance is the two biggest reasons businesses fail.
Big time. And culture. People that hate their job.
Yep.
And they become a cancer, right?
Yeah.
I think that's why in culture, for cultural perspectives, it's really important for employees to hang out with each other outside of work circumstances.
Yep.
whether if it's golf outing or if it's something outside of work, going out to dinner together once every so often, it's really valuable because you get to see somebody on a human level and understand about their family, their kids, their wife. So when other employees talk to each other, they can understand each other and they can communicate better in work.
Yep.
Right? It's so important to do that as a local business because you don't have thousands of employees. You've got 35 guys. I've got 8. So it's like you can do a lot of good work if you all are on the same page.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. For sure. And also too, like when the employees and they are going out in the town eating, whatever, I always tell them, don't forget you work at Force.
Exactly.
You have to set a good example.
Represent well.
Yeah. You have to set a good example no matter what it is you're doing because people are watching you.
That's right.
They're watching. I created an incentive program for my team that everybody but the sales team, right? If my labor that only has worked for us for 3 weeks, if they bring my sales manager a new customer that hasn't ran through our system yet and hasn't had a estimator assigned to him, then the sales manager will visit this home with that labor and whatever, if we get a sale for that job, that labor gets full commission for that job.
That's amazing.
So we sat down and did the numbers and realistically, every employee that I have, besides the estimators, have the ability to make an extra $35,000 or $45,000 a year.
That's great.
By bringing us new clients,
customers.
Yeah, customers. And I think that creating incentives like that for your guys gives them a reason to be excited, right? That kind of, I think if we were off camera, we were talking about personal, professional, and financial goals. And and I start saying, well, what's your financial goal? Right? Well, it's X. I'm like, really? Why can't you be here? It's like, and they're like, well, I don't own a business. Okay, but you can use this occupation with me as your vehicle to get to that goal.
Right.
Right. So right now you make what, $80,000 a year on salary plus our profit sharing bonus program that we abide by. But you also have this other tool you can use to drive you to make another $30,000 or $40,000 a year if you want to. So now you're at what, $125,000, $140,000. And then you take whatever money you save up and then you go invest it in some real estate. Yes, you can do that, or whatever you want to invest in.
Right. Or save it or pay off your mortgage, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good, man. So you've been in business for 8 years.
Yeah.
What's going to be new what's the focus if you were to say in a short, not like your company kind of, your company culture statements or anything like that, but what is like the one driving change you want to enact in 2025 for Force?
A driving change.
What's something you're focused on as a business owner that you want to see come to the light of day here in 2025?
As far as like anything in general?
Usually, I mean, I'll speak about our business. Okay. We usually have like a couple things
that
we want to do.
Okay.
Whether it be more profit, more revenue.
Understood.
Something like that.
Okay. So I'm wanting to drive my net profit up a little bit because over the last 3 years, every year my bottom number would decrease a little bit on the percentage scale, right? And last year, we only did about 6%. And I was like, man, what the hell's going on? So I start looking at everything and I came to figure out that the way I was allowing my team to clock in and clock out was costing me a lot of extra money. It came down to $13.76 a minute.
Wow.
At 246 working days out of the year. And how I came up to that number is I calculated all of our hourly and salary employees that were out there in the field that were clocking in and clocking out at the shop and drive time and all that. And what was going on was they was clocking in before they were supposed to be clocking in at the shop, and then they would get a drive time. So they, half hour to the job, they got drive time back, half hour back, and then another 20 minutes, 30 minutes at the shop, and then they would finally clock out. And that cost $457,000. I took 70% of that because I figured 30% of it was productive, right?
See.
That other 70%, I basically doubled it and said this is what we would have got if we were producing for this 70% of that $457,000. And that took my profit margin from 6 all the way up to almost 18, just from that one thing. Wow. So what I did is I created this other policy, and I did have a lot of pushback on that at first, but I had to explain it to him why this is important. And I said, last year we ran this type of incentive program based on job profit bonuses. I actually got introduced to a company called The Great Game of Business. I don't know if you've heard of them.
No.
But they help people out with their bonus structure. And it's based on net profits. And it's how it works is, let's say you set a goal of you want to profit $500,000. That's your threshold. Like that's what your target is. That's going to give you, let's say 10% for easy number. That's going to be a 10% margin. So your company did $5 million. If you hit that goal, you give your employees a percentage of what their salary is. So if they make 80 grand and you hit that goal and you can give them 10% of their salary, that's what you give them. But if you go above that goal, then you can give them 12%, 14%, 16%. And how it works is the profit is split between the employee and the company.
I see. And it's like 50-50?
Yeah. So the employees, you'll allocate 50% to the employees, 50% of it stays with the company.
I see.
And The Great Game of Business is a book written by a guy named Jack Stack. I guess International Harvester. It's about International Harvester wasn't doing really good, I guess, in the 80s or something. And Jack came in and revamped a bunch of stuff and got everybody, all the employees on the same page, striving to hit the same goals and targets. And this bonus structure is what he implemented into that company. And now they offer guidance, coaching, whatever for business owners like us to create something like that.
That's
I think it's pretty cool.
That is really cool. Yeah, anytime you can give the power of people's paychecks to their own hands and say, these are the things I expect. If you exceed that, you'll even make more than that. Yeah, is a good thing. We're working on that this well as the year's profit sharing for the same reasons. Anytime you put power in the employee's hands, oftentimes they'll start to do more with less. Yeah, and it only benefits them. So, yeah. Speak about the city of Peoria and the greater Peoria area. Where do you live now, Jake?
I live in East Peoria.
East Peoria.
Yep.
Which is where I'm from. Shout out Raiders.
Yeah.
Having a fantastic basketball season.
Are they really?
Yeah. But talk about the city around us. Growing up here, living here, how do you diagnose the people who live here versus cities you've traveled to around? Like, what's the culture as you see it?
There is a lot of untapped potential here because the mentality of the box that we're in. I love our community. Mm-hmm. I love the people of our community. I can't tell you how many times I've sat down with successful older gentlemen in our area and they ask me what my goals are. And I tell them my goals and they say, well, that's not possible. You can't do that. I said, well, why not? Tell me why I can't do it. Well, it's just not going to happen. Like, you might want a $50 million company, Jacob, but you know, there might be some here, but you're not going to be one of them. Mm. Okay. Whatever. I go to Florida. I go to Miami or Aventura. I go down to, I do a lot of Cardone Ventures stuff. Mm. I go down there. I might see somebody at Starbucks. Hey man, what do you do? Oh, I'm in finance, or, oh, I'm in construction, right? Mm-hmm. What's your goals? You know, you start talking, their goals are massive down there. Same way over in Arizona or Texas. What's your goals? You start talking goals with somebody in a place like that, their goals are massive.
The expectation's higher.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So that's the big difference that I see from our area to other areas. There's so much potential here, you know, and since we're, you know, here and there's only so much population here, that doesn't mean somebody that's hungry and getting after it like we are can't be more successful. They'll go somewhere else.
Right.
Have a business somewhere else. You can still have a business here and be located here and live here, but
people still need those services here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And since we are from this community, I feel like we can talk the talk and walk the walk because we live here.
Yeah.
We're from here. We know the people here. And I agree with you, man. I think Peoria has a lot of untapped potential. So does Bloomington Normal.
Oh yeah.
And it's everybody coming together to see this vision together. Yep. I wish we had more city planning. Maybe we do. I'm just unfamiliar with it. But a grander vision for what this city could look like.
Yeah.
Like a future cast. 2050, we could be here. 2030, we could be here if we work together. And this is the money, this is the plan, this is who's actually architecting that.
Yeah, you got to have somebody in there making that plan,
it up,
and working the deals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hopefully we do. I'm not sure. I'll talk to a politician about that in the future. But I so agree with you, man. I love this area. I plan to live and die here.
Yeah.
I ain't going nowhere. And so people are like, it's almost like they build businesses here to escape. They're like, I'm going to build a business here. I'm going to get wealthy, and then I'm going to leave, go to Florida or Texas or Arizona. It's like, yeah, that's cool. I want to see this city through. I want to be a part of it because we're young, man. The older generation is going to pass away someday, and we will be at the top of the food chain.
Right.
Why not start building now?
Yeah.
And build that future.
We can be the escape.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's time.
Yep.
Younger people, it's time for us to start taking the reins and saying, this is what we're made of and we can do this.
You know, I'm starting a mastermind group. Did you see that on Facebook?
You invited me to it.
Did I?
It's at like 4:30 p.m. or 5.
Oh yeah, we talked about it. It's 5:30. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's kind of my hopes with that too is I know I'm probably going to have some people that are newer to business coming in there, and I kind of want to open up that vision.
Yes.
Right. I want to open up that vision of how much more there is out there than what people realize.
Yes, there is. And people in Peoria, I talked to somebody a couple weeks ago about how generous the city is. Sandy Garza, she was saying the people here are so generous. When you ask for money for donations for a charity or something, people are so willing to donate. Race for the Cure, the Memphis to Peoria Run. Have you heard about this before?
I have.
We're the number one fundraiser for that. Every single year, Peoria is the number one on the map. So we just care about the people in our area, and I think that's something to boast about.
It is.
The stories that get published in the news sometimes tend to give the alternate view that Peoria is a dangerous city with all this crime and all these things happening, which might be true in certain pockets, but for a large degree, we have a lot of good things going, and we need to start putting that on camera.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's go back to masonry and bricklaying. What is something you can teach me on this podcast that would say that most people don't know, but is a common thing that people should know about bricklaying or masonry?
Well, let's start off with concrete first, right?
Okay.
Well, you know the number 2 things that concrete does?
No.
Well, it gets hard. That's number 1. And then it cracks. Any concrete finisher that tells you my concrete's not going to crack, they're either ignorant to the industry or they're lying.
I see.
One of the two. Now, you can do a whole lot of preventative measures to try and keep it from cracking, right? And we've put driveways in years ago that haven't cracked. And I know my buddy Mike Hartnett, that him and I work a lot together. He's 60, what did he tell me, 66 years old? He's going to kill me if he hears this. I'm probably too high. I think he's 66 years old, though. And he grew up in concrete with his dad. So that's all he's known. And he's put in pads 20 years ago that haven't cracked yet. But that's one thing to learn. Everybody says, you know, the concrete finishers, concrete gets hard and it cracks. And then, but on like a preventative maintenance type of thing, though, if you're in your basement, dude, and you see any like white powdery substance, dark spots on the wall, cracks on the wall, whatever, call a professional. If it's dark or if you got white powdery substance coming out, it's wet. The white powdery substance is known as efflorescence. And what happens is it's taking moisture from one side of the wall and it's wicking, like water comes up through a sponge, so it wicks back to the drier side of the wall.
I see.
And it brings mineral with it. And that white stuff is the mineral, it's the salt. And then like dark spots, you can see like is holding moisture. So what happens when that's going on is it's deteriorating that masonry. It's deteriorating the wall from the inside out, really.
I see.
The worst thing you could do in masonry is paint it because that traps the moisture in and it can't breathe.
It's like kills.
Yeah. That's
common.
The worst thing you can do, really. I mean, it might be
temporary.
Yeah. Well, I think you're talking about
like kills basement paint.
Dry lock.
Yes.
Dry lock. It might stop the immediate problem, which is water on the floor, right? From it running out of your wall, but that's not going to stop the actual problem,
which is water coming through the concrete from the other side.
Right, because now if it's coming through and you got that much water to where you got to dry lock it to stop water from being on your floor, then it's filling the inner cores of your block up, and it's eventually going to work its way out through the cove joint anyways, which is where the floor meets the foundation.
I see.
So you're trapping the moisture in. Just don't do it.
I see.
Yeah, I mean,
don't do it.
Don't do it. Yeah, don't do it. That's over there. And we'll have customers ask us to do that, and we educate them on that.
Right.
But if that's what they want, we will put that on there for them. But we at least educate them on it. You know,
it's the same thing with blackjack on roofs. People will put either blackjack or Flex Seal.
Okay.
Repairs. It's the same thing because all you're trying to do is wick the moisture off from it. It's a very basic repair that can maybe hold the water off for 6 to 8 months, but then it will come back. It will come back. the way that weather just beats on roofs and reduces the water shedding from it is going to destroy other components around it. So get it looked at by a professional. Repairs are so rare that repairs that last more than 1 year in the roofing industry are so rare.
Oh, I know.
It just doesn't happen.
I know it.
Because the elements are harsh.
So would this be correct if I looked at what you were saying as like caulk, right?
Yeah.
So when you caulk something, it's typically only going to last a couple of years, and then it's going to get dry and crack or pull away.
Yep.
Same thing with the blackjack. Same principle, but the blackjack is kind of like caulking a driveway because you're out in the elements, beaten down with the rain.
Yes.
But then what's even more worse for the roofs is the heat. The heat and the elements.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the weather. So
we have harsh heat here in the summertime. And so you've been running your business for 8 years. You've got massive goals that you're working on. Quite frankly, Jake, that's inspiring because you don't hear a lot of people talk like this in this area.
Thank you.
Like, you said that as a business owner, you feel alone. Do you also kind of feel alone with your goals? Because there's not many people who talk like this.
Some people look at me like I'm weird.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I've and there might be people that know who I'm talking about when I say this, and quite frankly, I don't care if they hear it, but I have been offering to kind of be a part of the YPGP, the Young Professionals of Greater Peoria, and I really love the people that are a part of that. I've met a lot of great people going to those. I haven't been to very many, but I'm kind of let down at when the very first one I ever went to. I walked in and there was someone standing at a podium with a sign-in sheet, right? And I walked up to it and they're looking at me. So I look at them and they're just looking at me. I said, "Hi, my name's Jacob." They said, "Hi." And I said, "Is this the YPGP?" And they kind of looked over at the sign that was next to him and they said, yeah, it is. Yeah. Are you here for it? I said, "Yes, ma'am." She says, "Okay, well, sign your name there." I said, "Okay." So I signed my name down in the book, and I had my cousin with me, which is a realtor in town. And he just kind of looked at me like, "Man, what's going on?" And nobody took us around to introduce us to anybody or anything like that. And I had a conversation with somebody that is, I don't know, ambassador or something, somebody that's on the board.
Staff.
Yeah, staff. Thank you. And I said, "You see that group of people over there?" And she says, "Yeah." I said, I said, they said, "Do you see that person, that person, that person?" And she said, "Yeah." "Why?" I said, "I guarantee you within 20 minutes, those three people are going to be mingling together because all three of them are lost and they're here for YPGP. They're lost. They don't know anybody. They're feeling weird, right? They're not comfortable. They're out of their element. They can't introduce themselves to people. Me, I'm pretty open, I'm outgoing." So sure enough, they started mingling together, and I said, "Hey, I would love to come in and help you guys get some sort of like organization on this, like get this set out and put somebody on the door." Yeah, organized and have somebody here to go around and introduce people like, "Hey, this is Jacob. He's got a construction company," or, "Hey, this is so-and-so. This is what he does. He's a professional here." And just, take the new member in, welcome them appropriately and introduce them to everybody. And I just, I don't know, man.
I think that speaks to people looking down on the trades because they think
so?
Yeah, I do. People that are professionals in terms of like wear a suit and tie every day.
Yeah.
And sit in a boardroom.
Yeah.
I just like to see, you're probably the same way, Jake. I like to see things go from really crappy to really good. Roofing is when you have a bad roof you're working on and you see it go from torn to crap to brand new, it's a beautiful feeling. I'm sure it's the same way in basements or masonry. When
very,
you see something
very
finished,
rewarding.
It's like, yes, I did it right and it's perfect and it's going to last for decades.
Yep.
People in the admin professional world look down on the trades because they think we're dumb. And to a large degree, there's so much failure in our lines of business. They're not wrong to assume that.
Yeah.
Until I don't take offense to that at all.
Yeah.
It's like, watch me work.
Yeah.
Watch me work.
Well, it keeps that fire under your ass.
Let's go. And it's not even because of that. I'm not even thinking about them, but I want to be so good in my discipline and in my business that they can't help but ignore that Roof Tiger's here. Right.
Yeah.
And so I used to feel that way in the beginning of like, give me some respect. Nowadays, now that we've become successful and we're rocking and rolling, it's like, I pay no mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm in my own vision.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at with it too. Like I said, I think we were off camera. I said, I just do me.
Do you?
I'm going to be in my own lane, doing that, because I know that as soon as I veer off the beaten path is when I'm going to end up over there somewhere. I hear people talking about politics all the time and Trump and this and that. And like, I'm not in politics, right? Like I know who I want, I'm a Trump guy. I'm a Trump fan, I'll tell you. But it doesn't matter to me really what's going on, because no matter what happens, you and I have to adapt to it.
We're going to work.
And if I veer off the beaten path and I'm so focused on what's going on over there in the Oval Office or something like that, I'm going to lose focus of what I'm doing, because no matter what happens there, I have to survive. And I got 35 people that work for me that depend on me to focus on them and our customers.
And their families.
Exactly.
And the customers' families and their houses. It's like we have a singular job to do. And we can get so caught up with AI and crypto and all these things, these waves that are coming through. Waves crash. And what's going to happen at the end of all this stuff, whatever happens, all these shakeouts of all the technology changes that's going to happen in the next decade, people are still going to need their basements to be redone.
Yep.
People still need their roofs to be replaced. That's where my focus is. And to get too off kilter with some of these other things, it's just like, it's a waste of your time.
It is.
Yeah.
And I don't like wasting time.
Yeah.
I don't. I try to live by the 2-minute rule as far as when you're talking to someone, can you get out what you're trying to say within 2 minutes?
That's good.
If you can't, should I bring it up right now? How do I get this out to whoever it is I'm talking to in 2 minutes and go? Yeah.
That's good.
Got that from Andy Frisella.
He's good.
Listen to him?
I love Andy Frisella.
He's a beast.
He is a beast.
I think
those guys are, let's go back 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. You had to pay a mentor who met with you in person or talked to you on the phone.
Yeah.
For a certain period of time. You'd probably pay thousands of dollars to meet these people.
Yeah.
Jake, we have YouTube that has thousands and thousands of really successful people I get to watch.
I know.
And listen to their mindset and say, yep, I'm taking that.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Even people watching this, it's like, we can communicate our ideas and get communicated to on the internet instantaneously. It's a beautiful thing where it expedites growth and expedites your leadership potential faster.
It's so much more simple now.
It is.
It is so much more simple. 30 years ago, that mentality, those guys that still have the construction companies that they started 30 years ago, I love them to death and I really respect their work ethic, because those are some hard working mofos, right? But when a guy will ask me, how you doing, man? You guys busy? Yeah, we're busy. We're booked out, 6 months. Oh man, how do you keep your customers? They'd be mad. I'm like, no, they wait because they're going to get good service, and when they call, we're transparent with them, and we tell them up front it's going to be 6 months, and they know they're going to get a good job, so they wait. But then 2 weeks later, you see the same contractor, they say the same question. Oh, hey man, how you doing? You busy? It's like, dude, I just seen you 2 weeks ago. I told you I was booked out for 6 months, and you're asking me again if I'm busy. And then it's the same old song and dance, right? Oh, I just can't find any good help. Well, why not? Because there's all kinds of people out there. Why can't you find good help?
There's a 2-minute rule right there.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, well, best of luck to you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I have a lot of respect for people in the trades, because it'll break your body in a way that the employees who actually work in the field of doing the actual work, it is so difficult. And I respect it so much. They're like the people working on a roofing job or the people working in basements. I respect those people more than people that sit on boards, because it's like they're putting in the work to make something beautiful. Yeah. We need more people to do work.
So I think
set up work.
I think I respect it all the same. Because we all have our thing that we're good at, right?
Sure.
And for roofers, you guys, they got it rough on their knees because of having to deal with the pitch of the roof.
Lower back.
Yeah, lower back. And then the danger of it too. And then the heat and then the smell from the tar and all that. Nothing about it is appealing to me, right? Nothing about it. My dad would always...
I love the smell of roofing.
I bet you do, yeah. So my dad would always say, them damn roofers and their fucking ladders. I don't know why they can't just use scaffold, because they would always say, come over here, look at this chimney, Dave. My dad's name was Dave. Come over here, look at this chimney. I want you to check out the brick. And we'd be on a 40-foot extension ladder, and he'd say, I don't know why they can't just use damn scaffold. But when you talk to a roofer, they're like, I don't know why you guys use that shit. I can't stand it, It's always funny to me.
Yeah.
But I respect everybody the same.
Yeah.
Because the people on the board, I don't know I could do that. You know? And like me, I'd probably make a terrible employee.
Yeah. I certainly would. I have been.
I would work hard, right? But I don't know that I would be a great employee because my mind would be so all over the place because I'm that visionary type of person, right? And I got to have an integrator that makes things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jake, I appreciate you coming on, man. It's been tremendous connecting with another entrepreneur, young entrepreneur who's in the trades. Whenever I see your trucks, I'm going to wave.
Okay.
You better wave towards mine.
We are. Yeah. I think we already do.
We already do.
Yeah.
What's something you want to leave the people with?
So, I mean, I think just write down your goals, right? Just write down your goals every night before you go to bed. Write them down, all of them, whatever they are. Don't matter how crazy they are, right? Write down your goals at nighttime before you go to bed. And the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning is write down your goals while you're drinking your 16 ounces of water. What that does for me, Ben, is when I write down my goals at nighttime, that's the first thing I think about when I wake up. And that gets me excited right away. And it makes it easier for me to wake up. And then I write down my goals as soon as I wake up while I'm drinking my 16 ounces of water. And after I write down the goals, which are the same goals I wrote down the night before, it causes me to never lose vision of those goals. And also I write down my targets for that day and I write out my schedule, even though it's in my Google Calendar. The reason being is because when I write that down, I now know where I'm at on my schedule throughout the day. Because for a long time, I got reliant on my phone and it would cause me to miss appointments and not really know where I was during the day.
Yeah. That's good, man.
Write down your goals.
Stay focused, write down your goals, lock it in, and go do it.
Let's do it.
We got to do something. Love it, dude. Jake, thanks for coming on, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah.